Okay, so let's start with introduction. So we'll just go around, just share your name, where you're from. Are you practicing, teaching chair yoga? Where are you at? What's going on? And then, and thank you, Jim and Sonia, for sharing questions in advance. So we're gonna go over specifically that today about, Sonia had great questions for the teacher training class today about hip replacement precautions, what poses to not do and do after. And if someone has shoulder pain or rotator cuff injury, what poses to do and not do. Sound like big topics, but we'll cover as much as we can with that. And then Jim had great questions about Ashtanga yoga based sun salute A and B, Surya Namaskar. It's a specific style of a sun salute from Ashtanga tradition. And then Vinyasa, which means to flow yoga, power yoga, different names for it at studios and gyms around the world do different variations based off the Ashtanga flow sun salute. So you already have in the sun salute module in your training, different versions, quite a few different versions of sun salute. A basic one I teach if everyone's seated, different flow versions standing, different options. I have a small flow video, but because of Jim's question, I made a new video that's in your module now, optional, link optional. And we're gonna go over today teaching exactly seated chair yoga and standing in the Ashtanga Surya Namaskar A and B. And then Jim, you got your mat out. So we're gonna have Jim, based on your question, verbally teach around and like one of us, or I'll sit in the chair and show the chair version while some could be standing or vice versa. Cause like Jim will let you know, he's teaching also mixed level. So we'll go over how if your class is doing sun salute on the mat, but one person's in a wheelchair or chair or needs a chair standing, maybe after surgery, how we can do the exact sequence. Any tradition you can modify for chair yoga. It's not just the ones I'm suggesting. So thanks for the questions in advance, Sonia and Jim. And if you have more to add, let me know. We'll do as much as we can in the hour. So whoever wants to start, let's just share where you're at, what's going on, any questions? Do you need motivation? Where are you at? Who wants to start?
I'll start. My name is Sonia Banks and I am situated in Peoria, Arizona. I haven't started to teach yet, but I'm trying to gather some friends so I can practice teach with them.
Great, and congratulations, Sonia graduated. I think that was 2 weeks ago or less, a little less than 2 weeks ago. Congratulations, you completed it. 35 hours plus live hours, wonderful. Okay, and thank you for the Q&A, Sonia. Your valuable questions are great. What questions you have, other people have. So thank you for always sharing what you're curious about. Okay.
I guess I'll go next. My name's Jim. I am up in near Seattle, south of Seattle, in a town called Puyallup. And I teach at 3 different Ys, gentle, all levels, yin. And as Stacy knows, since February, when we came back the second time that, the governor allowed us to meet, I had 3 or 4 gals that would bring a chair and sit in my gentle classes. And so I started panicking because I had never even been to a chair class. So I have not taught chair yet, but I've been to a couple classes and observed and love it. And looking forward, and I've learned an amazing amount in this class. I could not picture myself trying to teach chair yoga without taking this course.
And also, Jim, you just graduated yesterday. Finished 35 hours plus 11 hours of live. These Zoom classes are optional, but this plus the Monday community class are optional on top of your 35. So you had 46 hours, and Sonia, you had 35 plus 6. That's a lot of hours dedication. So congrats to you both, and a lifelong ahead of teaching. So, okay. And last but not least.
Hello, I'm Michelle Callahan. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. You can, yep, perfect. Okay.
And I'm in Dallas, Georgia. It's about an hour northwest of Atlanta. And I have not officially taught chair yoga. However, I started yesterday in a class that I teach every Monday and Thursday. I started to introduce the chair yoga that I've learned so far to get that practice. So just a little bit of teaching it in yesterday or 2 days ago, the class. And yeah.
Okay, wonderful. A great way to get practice teaching is start simple. Not everything you learn in the course you have to just teach right away. It's like, say you're already teaching a yoga class, or if you haven't taught before, your neighbor, your friend, your grandparent just want with you in a chair. Start simple, like one or everyone's there, a chair yoga sun salute. Simple, not like some standing, some seated. That's a little more complex. So start simple. And if you're teaching yoga but not chair, even if people don't need it, they may love it if you have chairs in the room, or if you're online, tell them to sit in the couch, grab a chair and show them like one twist. They'll like it because it gives them ideas how to do it at their desk. Oh yeah, if they're always doing yoga on the mat, they may not realize I can practice at my desk or outside on a park bench or anywhere. So just starting simple, great way to practice. Start one pose, 5 minutes of it seated, and then and you'll build from there. So great way to do that. What I want to point out, and before we actually get into the poses and practice teaching, is and Sonia and Jim, you've been joining the Mondays. Anyone in the training I've invited for the Monday class, that's not for training teachers. I started 2 months ago because I just miss students. We're still not in person in California, and I miss seeing the seniors and the students. So I offer a Monday Zoom class, chair yoga, which you can all do for your students. And the nice thing now is people can join from all over the country. I've got people joining from East Coast. It's not just your area anymore if it's online. And what I want to point out, because I don't announce this per se when I'm teaching in the class, but Sonia and Jim, since you're just graduated from the training and on there, I want to point out, because as a chair yoga teacher, when I'm on Zoom or in person, although we're going to learn like sequences and ways to teach, it's really about who's there. So no matter what you have in your mind or written down as exact sequence, you have to modify the modification, which is the chair yoga. You may have to modify based on who's there. So on that, like on this Monday, and Sonia and Jim, you were on it, what you couldn't see on the screen, and we didn't mention, she didn't or I didn't, one of the women's in a wheelchair. She was doing all seated. Another woman there just turned 91 last week, really sweet. Her daughter signed her up because she was taking like 10 live yoga and Zumba classes till the shutdowns for the year. But her daughter leaves after she sets her mom up on Zoom. So she's in the room alone. So even though she was doing Zumba and Pilates and, up and down, not necessarily chair, she's still 91. So there's two things I changed my teaching that day, which, you're not aware of taking the class, but I did more seated poses that day. First, because someone in the class was doing all seated in a wheelchair. So that doesn't mean you have to only teach seated, because some people in the class want to stand. But if I'm teaching at a company and everyone's able to stand up and down, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s age, whatever, I may do a round together seated sun salute or two, and then have everyone stand. I might do 30 minutes standing, get them moving, maybe even break a sweat for a second to go back to work. So it really depends who you're teaching to. So although it can feel like a little overwhelming sometimes, you want to learn the exact sequences and poses, remember it's more important who you're teaching to, so they can learn basic tools to feel better, more mobile in the joints, more peace. All of us want stress management and to feel more harmony. So, remember the intent is who you're teaching to. So you got to change it a bit. So like that day I did offer some standing poses, but how I teach chair yoga, and there's no right or wrong, is in that case, there was someone may have limited mobility. I was really making sure hold the chair for standing poses, to begin, and keep an eye on her because she's still 91, right? Balance as you age still could be an issue, even if you don't need a chair. And no one else was there in the room. So I'm, just like you're teaching in person, whether online or not, if that makes sense. So teach to who's there, and always err on the side of safety. If you're not sure how you can hold a wall on one side, chair on the other, you can keep reminding them, let's pause, mountain pose, hold on to the chair, refine our balance, right? Just because the online teaching now is a little different. You're not there with them in person. So just keep that in mind. And it's all about who you're teaching to, right? So that day I did one or two tree pose, but I first had us all, let's all try together. I said, let's all do the seated tree, in the chair, there's different ways to do it. And even though everyone didn't need that seated, I had them do it anyway. You know why? Because this is a great thigh and hip stretch too, right? Seated. And it's helpful for everyone to start. And then those that want to do standing, then the people who were sitting, everyone already now knows that, and they can do 2 rounds of the same pose while the others do standing. So I like teaching it that way. So everyone feels like, let's start together, and it's not better or worse, but then some may stand, some may repeat it twice. Sometimes people don't need to sit, but they want to. You'll be surprised. Some students can stand, but when you offer standing option, they don't. I don't know why, whatever their reason. They may like, oh, I want to learn the chair, or I'm kind of tired today and I didn't tell you. So there's no set way. If it's a company class, I might have, they're all sitting all day at meetings. I may have them, let's all stand up and do our warm up standing. I might start 30 minutes standing, then seated for that group. So it's really dependent on the group, right? So just want to point that out. So now let's jump in and welcome Janine from Trinidad. I'm going to have everyone mute unless you have a question now.
I couldn't sign in.
Yeah, Janine, before we start, we're going to jump right into the techniques now and the modifications. Do you want to say hi to everyone or any introduction?
Hi, everybody. I couldn't sign in. I don't know what was going on. I've been trying to sign in for like forever.
Okay. You're in now. This is the same link every Wednesday, first Wednesday of the month. So, and I love that you're from Trinidad. We're all over the US. So what we're going to go over now to begin, and I'm going to guide you through centering in a practice, but I'm going to point out some modifications. If Sonia, you have a friend who had a hip replacement and rotator shoulder cuff surgery or needs surgery. So the same student may have multiple things going on. Other students in the class, you may not know what's going on. So I'm going to point out some modifications or pointers for those with hip replacement and shoulder, assuming the student told you about that, which she did. You may not know, and then that's, if you don't know what's going on, you can't modify specific. But once they tell you, first and foremost, as a chair yoga teacher or yoga teacher, we're not doctors or physical therapists. So it's not your role to know the every therapeutic exercise and what to do and not to do based on exact surgery, because you also don't know, hip injury or shoulder pain, that so much is going on with that. It's not always one thing. Even the hip replacement, depending on where they got the hip replacement or the type of surgery, can depend on what they can do and not do for the healing. And depending like where the incision was, that might tell you like, they might have more freedom to do some poses, more restriction after surgery. So it's truly up to the doctor and the person to know what movements to do and not do. Not your role as a yoga teacher to know every single modification or pose. It's up to them. And they may have other conditions before. Were they moving before and exercising before? Were they not? It's very dependent on that too. There's some general ones though, good to know. We'll go over today. But always ask the student, please, if they haven't checked with their doctor yet and they have to get a surgery or they have pain or going to, you can say you can skip poses for today if you're not sure, but check with your doctor or your physical therapist what movements not to do, right? What can you not do? And then skip those. So it has to be, it's so specific, right? Based on their history, their past, what's going on that day, what they ate, medications, inflammation. It's not just do this yoga pose or don't for each condition. I know it's easy. We want these quick answers, but it's not always so simple. So have them check. It's up to them and their doctor. And as a yoga teacher and chair yoga teacher though, we do want to know some basics. So let's start. I'm going to interweave it to as we practice so you can get your practice in too. Does that sound good? Instead of just lecture format. And then at the end, we'll check in with more questions. And within this first, we're going to do a 30-minute practice where I'm going to point out hip replacement precautions, and we'll do some nice stuff for shoulder and rotator cuff. And also for Jim's great question, we're going to do the Ashtanga yoga A and B Surya Namaskar seated together, standing, and then we'll break it down after with mixed level teaching and break down the teaching. But we'll do now, I'm gonna literally time it. So it's exactly 30 minutes. When you're practice teaching, watch out, because you want to get really good to be pretty precise with a 30-minute class, a 45-minute class, or an hour class. Okay. If you're teaching your friend, maybe not so important, but when you're at companies or assisted living homes, you're like within that hour. Okay, and just like if you're teaching on Zoom or senior classes, you may give an hour window, like I do Mondays 12 to 1, but I teach 45-minute sequence. That gives me time to check in with people like we did here, questions after. And quite frankly, an hour is too long for some people for chair yoga, right? 30 minutes is plenty. So if I let them know it's a 45-minute class, the window's 12 to 1, that gives us freedom. Otherwise, people might have to rush out right after in the hour class, but they don't give time to connect or questions. And I feel connection so important now. Yoga means to connect, but more than ever because of the closures and not everyone's in person yet. So I really like to give that time, to connect. So we're going to do literally 30 minutes. You don't have to look at the clock. I will. You can enjoy this as a student. I'm going to record this, so don't worry about notes. Just enjoy. So let us begin in a 30-minute, just like every class we teach. Ideally, we keep the components of centering. We're going to pause a few moments, some breathing, little mind-body meditation, mindfulness, then warm-ups. Sun salutes, technically a warm-up, could also be the poses. We're going to do some poses, relaxation, maybe meditation, all of that in 30 minutes. We can do it. No problem. You can do it in 15 minutes. It's all proportional. Okay, so begin centering. You're going to find whatever chair works for you. We're going to start in mountain pose, Tadasana. So begin with your feet on the ground. Scoot a little forward from the chair if you don't need the back for support, so you can sit tall and alert. See what feels best for your hands. Palms down, palms up, your choice, no right or wrong. You can also touch thumb to first finger. It's called Gyan Mudra. And then rest the hands on the legs. Sometimes that helps us focus a bit for inner wisdom, but it can sometimes help you focus. Feel free to do that. And then close your eyes and just take a moment to adjust your pose. Adjusting, just kind of aligning consciously. So you may want to rock side to side, shake the head out, no or yes, just letting go of tension, maybe shrug a few times or a shoulder roll or two, fake a yawn. We'll do our poses after and warm-ups, but just to kind of let go of extra tension. And then when you feel ready, close the eyes, find some stillness. Take a little slower breath in through the nose, long breath out. Repeat on your own. Inhale, slow, exhale, slow. Just allow the breath to help also adjust your posture. Sit tall as you breathe in, letting go of extra shoulder tension or jaw or neck tension as you breathe out. Even the face can relax now, above eyebrows and forehead. Just allowing the breath to slow down. Consciously slow the inhale, a little longer exhale. And just notice what's going on in the body, your energy level, the mind, just observing whatever's present for you now. Feel the feet on the ground and the buttocks in the chair. That helps us stay present, especially if you're off in your thoughts. Go to the base, whatever touches the earth. You can even wiggle your toes and then relax and feel the toes, feel the feet on the earth. You can always think of the name of the pose. This is mountain, so the feet are the base of mountain, grounding into the earth. Spine is like the mountain. Rising, top of head's the mountain peak, lifting towards the sky. I'm going to tune in with the universal mantra Om, A-U-M. Since it's a teacher training class, I'm also going to do a Sanskrit mantra, which is honoring the inner teacher or inner guru, that which leads you from your inner darkness to light, that which what we are not conscious of, how we can illuminate ourselves. So let's stretch your arms up on inhale, spread the fingers, breathe in. Exhale, slide the hands down the midline, thumbs touching sternum, sitting tall, prayer pose called Anjali Mudra. And focus at the heart or between hands. Eyes can be closed, 3 ohms together, inhale. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase. Om, together, Shanti, 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 Shanti. The English of that means the guru, that's that teacher in you. The teacher is auspiciousness, united in truth, knowledge, and bliss. Salutations to the one beyond the worlds, peaceful, independent, and radiant. Om, peace, peace, peace. Okay, deep inhale, exhale, lowering head to the heart. Honor that inner guide, your inner teacher, the wisdom that's already within you. Lowering the hands. Okay, and then we're going to go right into our warm-ups now. So when you're ready, we're going to just keep the breath slow. We're going to start with some shoulder warm-ups. So the rotator cuffs, and Sonia asked for students with rotator cuff injury or pain, like every class and every joint, you can always begin, remind everyone, if anything's painful in the joints, stop or modify, number 1. That's a general, then you don't need to give every million contradiction and indication. But for rotator cuff and all the joints, we do need to move the joints. If there's not pain, we want to keep the range of motion. So gentle for shoulder pain or rotator cuff injury or waiting on surgery, just small little circles may feel good. Doesn't have to be big. If comfortable, let's do bigger. Inhale up to the ears, exhale back and down. And keep going, forward, inhale up, back and down. Now, if someone has rotator cuff or shoulder pain or different stuff can be going on, they'll feel if one shoulder's more in pain than the other, maybe one moves more than the other. That's okay too. Do what feels good for you and move with breath. Okay, so slower, mindful movements are useful when people are waiting or recovering from surgery. So you can really tune into the body and not just move quick. So you got to warm up first. But mindfulness, go the other way. We actually often throw our backs out or injure ourselves from those quick movements, picking something up, bending and twisting quick. So in yoga, we're going slow, aware, mindful. So you got to tune into your body, and when there's pain, you back off. You're inhaling when your shoulders go back and up to the ears at your own pace. Exhale when they go forward and down. These slow, soothing movements with breath can be so great for people dealing with pain and recovering from surgery. Just simple can be good. Now, only if your body's comfortable. If you have some people's rotator cuff, depending what's going on, if they can't lift their arms above shoulders, let's all try. Say you can't lift arms above shoulders. We're going to inhale, lift the hands up to shoulder height, exhale back and down. These are big arm circles, but I'm starting with kind of slow. If someone can't lift both arms up, it will start like that. Then those that are comfortable, you can keep going. Inhale a little higher. Some of you can go all the way up, exhale back and down. So these, it's like a swimming motion, which is why I pointed out Monday, swimming's great for rotator cuffs to prevent injury, keep mobility. But again, some people may do smaller. Find your own pace. You inhale up, you can even stretch the fingers up, maybe look up on inhale, exhale, all the way back and down, up to you. So if you have a big class, but you're one person has that shoulder limitation, they can do smaller, everyone can do bigger. A more gentle hand on shoulder, let's try that, is circling the elbows. And then add breath. Inhale, elbows up. Exhale when they go back and down. Try a few in each direction. So yeah, do your best to sync breath. Basically, inhale when you lift up. Exhale like a big sigh, letting go as the elbows go down. Breath helps relax the muscles. And go the other way. So really, if you notice this movement, hand on shoulder, and the arm, it's all the same for the shoulder, right? You're getting that rotation, but that will help give options. So someone may be gentle without lifting the arms, can get that same movement in the shoulder without the huge, right? So you can do that, shake it out. We'll do another warm up. And if you had a hip replacement, I'm going to point out nothing that so far would involve the hip. So if someone had a hip replacement or knee injury, you can work the entire upper body and arms in a chair practice, right? Say they're recovering from surgery or injury, lower body. They can't get out and walk or go to the gym, do weights, but the whole upper body can move and work in the chair. That's the beauty of chair yoga. So focus on what you can do and the students can do, not what they can't. Think of all the joints that working healthfully, and then the other joint that's injured, you still want to move, but no pain. So here you're going to inhale up. Let's start to shoulder height. Exhale down. I know you can go higher, but just try it. Inhale up. Sit tall. Exhale down. This is very simple. You can start the class with that if you know someone's in there with shoulder pain or no, and then keep going. Inhale, those that can keep going up. Go as far as each of you are comfortable. Exhale down. This is actually upward hand pose if the palms face each other. Let's try it that way. Palms face each other. Inhale up. Urdhva Hastasana. Let's say that in Sanskrit. Urdhva means up. Hasta is hand. Urdhva Hastasana. You're on mute, but just say it. Don't worry if you mumble, you're on mute. Urdhva Hastasana. Good. Exhale lower. You don't have to know Sanskrit. It's good to learn. One more. Inhale up. So someone's shoulder rotator cuff may have one arm up like that, not the other, right? We're all going to be unique. Exhale lower. Sometimes I like to take the arms back after. Go back now. So you're just trying to get the range of motion and then shake it out. Does that help a little bit, Sonia? Just a thumbs up, just for gentle. So you're basically, those warm-ups may be better than poses for someone who's waiting on surgery or just had surgery. The warm-ups itself are just often like what the physical therapists offer for exercises, can be very therapeutic. Not holding a pose so long, but just going inhale up, exhale down, in and out with breath makes it more gentle, good for recovery, right? Versus holding long. There was a yoga student I had that had a rotator cuff injury, and she told me that she couldn't get her one arm up overhead. She was taking Iyengar yoga, and laying on her back, she would just simply do that. Inhale up, exhale down, and just working with the mobility. Sometimes they have to lift their arm to help, but you don't want to go towards pain. And then she kept doing it. And she said from the yoga, months and months later, she was able to do full range of motion. So some people can prevent surgery with yoga, remember. Okay, so now let's do 1 or 2 neck movements. So stretch your arms down, sit tall. You're going to reach your hands towards the earth, chin down, and then draw little half circles with your nose, like a little smiley face. You're going one ear to shoulder, chin down, other ear to shoulder. You can do half circles. If you rather do full, that's fine. Let's add the breath. Exhale when your chin goes down. Inhale, ear to shoulder. So no, all the muscles are connected. So if we have shoulder pain, right, we want to also keep that neck relaxed and the little stretch or movements, which can affect the trapezius and shoulders. Okay, head up now. Inhale, look up, relax your arms. Exhale, chin down. One more. Inhale up. Simple neck exercises. Exhale down. Head center. And now turn the head side to side. You can add breath. Exhale when head turns. Inhale, center. And then shake it out. Okay, one more warm up. Feet wide, hands on the thigh. So the basic for hip replacement, someone, and the doctor will let them know when they can start yoga or how long they need for recovery, depending on the surgery. But one of the basics to know for hip replacement, you don't want to do internal rotation. So just try that. Move your thigh in, not if you had a hip replacement. That's what you don't want to do. Try it the other way. That might feel good for you, but a hip replacement, that internal rotation is what they advise not to do. Now, some students may be able to do a little bit, but they'll know their limit. But basically in yoga, for hip replacement surgery after, we're going to avoid internal. That means not crossing the legs on those spinal twists, right? But you can keep feet together and get the same benefit for the spine. That twist is not about the legs anyway. So the biggest precaution for hip replacement, number one, not internal rotating. And after surgery, not going like real far beyond 90 degree, not forward bending, which is the same if people have low back pain or disc injury. They'll know because their doctor will tell them and they'll know their body limit. But instead of forward bending, you can sit tall, mountain pose. Okay, so we're going to do this warm up now, a little circling of the spine. Now this would be fine because you're taking your legs wide. You're not internally rotating. But if the student needs hip width, is fine. You can adjust the legs. This now is about your hips and spine, and you're going to make little circles. If you want to get that rib cage going, move the ribs. Now inhale. You can inhale back, exhale forward, or your own breath pattern. Get in rhythm with your breath. And go the other way. This also can get into those shoulders a bit if you bend your elbows. This is, by the way, usually done cross-legged. In Kundalini yoga, it's called the Sufi grind, and you're cross-legged, and that's all it is. It's a hip and spine warm-up. And you're welcome today, if you're rather cross-legged on the floor, you can go back and forth. Try both ways, sync with breath. This is a great way to energize your whole spine and your whole body. Hips, everything, not the legs, but some people like to relax your neck and let the head go down. For others, if that gets you dizzy. And if you had like the hip surgery or any movement doesn't feel good, you can go real small. Even if you can do big now, try real small movements. Inhale back, exhale forward. And go the other way. You can start the class, if it's a large group, real small movements. That way everyone can find their rhythms, make sure there's no pain. And then if those that want to keep going can go bigger. You can start everyone small. There's benefit to that small movement, right? Even small. In yoga, some of us are always used to going to your extreme edge of movement, but we don't always play around with the middle movement or 20% of your flexibility. There's benefit in all different ranges of motion. Okay, now sit tall. Just try a few cat-cow. Inhale, arch, exhale. Okay, we're going to get into sun salute in a moment. We're not going to do this version today. Let's sit tall. But I just want to point out, in the version I have in the training, it's knee up seated lunge. If their doctor told them, because they don't want to go more than that 90-degree flexion and they're not to lift their knee, if the doctors let them know that, they, instead of doing that lunge like that, they can lift their heel, right? So you just modify. We're not going to actually do that in the Ashtanga version today. We're going to do, but I just want to point that out. This is only if they can get down on the ground, but that knee to chest laying on your back pose, which is great for sciatic joint pain. But if they had a recent surgery or hip replacement and they're not able to go more than that 90 degrees, right? Knee to chest. I don't know if you can see, but you can stretch one leg under the chair, other leg like that on the chair to keep that 90-degree angle. Breathing. It may be okay to go out and in. That's not the internal rotation. So just to show the other leg stretched out on the ground, you can breathe there, maybe out and in, versus knee all the way to chest if that angle's too much. Post-surgery, remember, it's also what they know where the incision is. Does that help, Sonia, too? If students, okay, and notice Monday I say, if you're comfortable getting down on the floor and back up yourself, then you can do legs on the chair pose. I always point that out because if someone needs assistance and no one's there, I don't want them getting on the ground. Same in person, really, right? So now that was technically joint warm-ups. That might be someone just finished their surgery. That might be enough. You can do different movements, the leg lifts, the ankle rolls, right? You can do a whole series, a 30-minute class, just warm-ups, right? Circle the ankle. This is for hip replacement. This is great. Strengthen the quads, lifting one leg. Inhale, try that. Exhale, lower for both legs. Okay, so many wonderful things, but we're going to move on just to get into that sun salute now. Fine, we'll start together seated. Now, you don't have to know what Ashtanga, Surya Namaskar A and B is, although I have it on video. I'll demo after when we break it down. But even if your students don't know anything about yoga, you still can enjoy this sequence for them. So let's all do it together. Now, you may not know what I'm modifying from, but I'm purposely today doing this in the version Jim and some traditions teach and do. So sit tall, version A. Actually, Jim, I'm going to unmute you. Do you want to verbally instruct the A? And I'm going to do the chair movements from all seated. You can stay seated. So let's see. Well, okay. So we just unmute Jim. I'll have you verbally do your Surya Namaskar A and then B, and we're all going to do it seated. I'll do the seated movement so you all can watch me and copy and follow along. But Jim, will you verbally instruct?
Sure, I can do that. And on my, you talked about lunge. When I do gentle yoga, I add a lunge before on B, before warrior one, just so they slowly go into it.
Nice. Okay. And in that demo video, by the way, I lifted my leg. That's from Vinyasa flow. Ashtanga doesn't lift the leg. There are all these little extras. Yeah.
I have
Okay.
a
Great. And if you're more comfortable verbally teaching it while you do it on the mat, up to you, or seated, doesn't matter. I'm going to do this seated that everyone will follow. So however
Okay.
you want to instruct, what's best for you to do the full version?
Sure, I'll just do A, and I'll instruct it like I would a gentle yoga class.
Perfect. Will you do A and then like you can do a round or two of A, maybe 2 rounds of A or so, and then B?
Okay.
And this is great because Jim's showing, say Jim's teaching a class, everyone on their mat. No chair yoga, right? Say your Y class. And you're going to show and teach not with the mat. We're going to do it seated. You would have to sit with the student first for a demo and show them. If you're not teaching yoga classes, only chair yoga, you wouldn't have to know this both. Jim's teaching yoga classes and adding chair yoga. So a little more complex. So don't feel you have to know Jim's version. You only have to enjoy the seated and teach just that with everyone seated for simple chair yoga. Does that make sense?
And if I could throw out there,
Mm-hmm.
I've added now your version, Stacy, and they love that too. And it's not the same thing. And it's awesome to switch it up.
Yeah, I love it. One can be like a warm up for the other. It gives variety. Exactly. Different days. Exactly. So, okay, whenever you're ready. And you just
Just go ahead and come.
And don't worry about chair directions. You just teach the normal standing. I'm going to do the chair version.
Okay, let's all meet in mountain pose. And on your next inhale, let's circle sweep the hands in the air, or you can come up through heart center or straight up if you're taking care of shoulders or back. Exhale into that forward fold. Hands can come down to the floor, your legs to blocks. Bend your knees if you need to. The goal is the fold. On your next inhale, meet me in halfway lift, AKA monkey. The goal is a straight back. Again, bend your knees if you need to. And then I add a forward fold because I'm taking them in slowly. And then step back to plank.
Okay. Hands on chair by hips, by the way. Press down, lift the spine. Seated version. Keep going. Thanks.
On your exhale, chaturanga, tricep push up, elbows grease the outside of your rib cage. Inhaling into up dog, cobra, or seal.
You can interlock fingers, seated or like that, whatever feels good. Or here.
On your next inhale, curl the toes under, hips up and back, that inverted V, down dog. Some people will stay here for a few breaths and walk your feet out, bending your knees one at a time. On your next inhale, walk or float forward, halfway lift. Remember, you can bend your knees.
Okay, for seated, hands shins or thigh. If they're not bending, hip replacement maybe is more upright. Okay, different ways. Sorry, Jim, keep going. Yeah.
Nope, no, this is good teamwork. Exhale, back to that forward fold. Inhale, circle sweep, straight up in front of you, or come up through heart center, extended mountain. And let's do one more, forward fold on the exhale.
And I'm showing different options. Everyone has different mobility, right? Based on injury. Not everyone goes all the way down.
Halfway lift on the inhale. Forward fold on the exhale. Walk or float back to plank. Chaturanga on the exhale.
Chaturanga, seated, press down, lift the spine, arm and core strength. It's pretty active.
And then inhale into up dog, cobra or seal. I'm in cobra, head, neck, shoulders, chest off the ground, hands to guide, legs and tops of the feet pushing into the mat.
And I'm showing 4 options like we do, right? Depending what's comfortable, different ways for the arm. Getting a back bend, good.
And on your exhale, curl those toes, hips up and back, down dog. On your inhale, walk or float forward, that halfway lift. Remembering the goal is a straight back, hands on the floor if you can keep a straight back or on your legs. Exhale to forward fold. And inhale, bend the knees, circle sweep up through heart center or arms straight out, extended mountain. And exhale down through heart center to mountain.
Beautiful. I'm going to pause a moment. Isn't that wonderful? Look how the gym is working hard. Physically, you're doing push-up, up dog, down dog, not easy. Seated, we're not doing anything with leg strength. If someone's paralyzed from waist down or in a wheelchair or injured, isn't that beautiful how we can all do that together and you still get the mobility? And then Sonia, and your question, if someone can't, let's say one arm can't lift, or to here, they're recovering from shoulder rotator cuff plus hip replacement, can't bend. I'm going to do now, Jim, if you don't mind, I'll have you teach A one more time, and I'm going to show a super gentle version of what we did, even very simple, same thing. But isn't that beautiful how we all can join together, whether it's physically vigorous, gentle, seated in a wheel, everyone can join, right? It's just getting creative and not limiting to ourselves to we only have to do it this way or we can't do it. Not true. And it's not limiting to, oh, because my shoulder and hip joints and I'm tired, I can't do yoga. Not true. We do what we can do to a comfortable edge. So thank you, Jim. Sorry, I'm talking in between. It's just for teaching direction points. But
I love to go back and forth.
Okay, perfect. Because this is a teacher class. We have on, I do have this too on the other video. So everyone has everything. And I also put a link today on the email of the guru of Ashtanga Yoga, Patabi Joy, is teaching his senior students these versions on the mat. Only 5 minutes, pretty challenging. You'll see the actual version taught from the guru. So you have the floor mat version on your own. Enjoy. You got the options. Okay, so let's try again. Now, let's, even though you can do more seated, I'm going to have Michelle, Janine, and Sonia follow me with super gentle, even if you can do more, to experience what your student might need. So Jim, when you're ready.
On your inhale, extended mountain. If you're taking care of shoulders, keep your arms wide a little bit instead of coming in. Exhale, forward fold. On your next inhale, make me halfway lift. Forward fold on that exhale.
I'm just going like an inch. Also, maybe osteoporosis, they're lengthening. Maybe an inch. It's still movement. You may not even see it, right? It could be small. Still getting that movement.
Stepping back to plank on your inhale. That tricep push-up, chaturanga on your exhale.
Okay, if you want to work the students more, by the way, you could press down and lift the body up. Not okay for shoulder or wrist injury, but just so you know, that's like core and arm strength for chaturanga. That's work.
And then inhaling into up dog, cobra, or seal.
Gentle, hands on front, elbows back.
Exhale, curl the toes under, hips up and back, down dog.
Okay, so if one or both shoulders are limited, you still can lengthen spine, lean a little forward, arms out. Maybe one arm can go up, other hand supported. Just try different ways, see what that feels like.
Walk or step forward, that halfway lift on the inhale.
You can halfway lift, arms straight, just lean an inch forward. We're doing gentle version.
And then exhaling into that forward fold.
Elbows can bend to maybe another inch or lengthen, or maybe not. Maybe you stay upright.
And inhaling, I'll come up through heart center on this one, extended mountain.
Okay,
And exhale back through mountain pose.
Okay, good. I've taught so many years in assisted living homes. Once, if you haven't done a lot of that yet, you'll start to see, I'm trying to like, I can't show everyone's range of motion, but you'll see so many students, like it's such small movement. You know, maybe they're 95 taking your class with all kinds of injury. Maybe they're 96 in a wheelchair with Alzheimer's. So many options. So what I'm doing might be even more range of motion than some students. But notice how, Jim, you could teach that full version you did like in a YMCA active gym class, while that one student really gentle, simple in a chair can join. They don't need a special chair yoga class. Isn't that beautiful?
It is, and this helped me so much with on the Friday, my Friday class, you know, with the 3 or 4 or 5 people coming using a chair, because I told you, man, I was freaking out.
I know. That's why I teach us. I know. Believe me, I myself early on in the 90s teaching yoga came out of training, and he brought his wife who was paralyzed in a wheelchair to 50 people in my gym class, and everyone's on the mat, and I'm like, I had no idea what to do. I got creative, and you learn. That's how we learn. So now that we have more formal ideas how to do it, that's how we learn. We don't know till a student comes to us and we don't know what to do, and then we inspire to learn. So let's try B. Good work, Jim. Let's try Surya Namaskar B. If anyone here would rather do it on the mat following Jim, you're welcome to.
Okay, B, if you're not familiar with B, it's one of the few times we're going to inhale into chair and then exhale forward fold. So just be ready for that. And then we end chair and then mountain.
Okay, and Jim, you could just give your normal sun salute directions, and I'm going to do the seated chair, so you don't have to verbalize both yet, just normal.
I'm sorry, I don't have to what?
You don't need to verbalize the chair. I'm going to do the physical on the chair poses. Adapt. Just do your normal sun salute as you do it.
Got it.
Everyone else follow me or follow Jim standing. You choose. Ready?
Okay, meet me in mountain pose. On your next inhale, meet me in chair. Hips back, knees stay over the ankles. Exhale, forward fold.
Okay, of course, seated, you're going to go to where your range of motion is.
Halfway lift on the inhale. And then I add forward fold and plank for gentle yoga classes. So exhale back to forward fold. Inhale, step back to plank. Chaturanga on that exhale.
If you want to work your body, lift your hips and down.
Inhaling in the up dog, cobra or seal. Exhale, curl the toes under, hips up and back, down dog. On your next inhale, raise that right leg, 3-legged down dog.
Okay, so seated, you can lift the leg in the air.
Exhale, swing it through or grab it if you need to, low lunge.
Just so you can see, you're in lunge. Seated, we're going to go into just stretch the leg out, will be simple version.
On your inhale, back foot 45 degrees from the short edge of the mat. Use the core to rise up to warrior one.
Okay, I'm just going to point out one thing because Jim added low lunge. Ashtanga goes right to warrior one, which would be this, heels on the ground. If you can see, toes are spread wide, palm together. If I wanted Jim to do exactly your version, I could have done low lunge like you did, and then warrior one. So you could match it exactly.
Yep, and that's how I do it on my all levels, but the gentle, I add the steps.
Beautiful. Remember, if you're only teaching everyone seated, you don't need to know both, but just trying this out for ideas, okay? Good work. Keep going. You're doing great.
Exhale, heel comes off the ground, both feet facing forward, hands down, low lunge. On the inhale, right foot back plank. You can always push the down dog or take your flow, chaturanga.
Lift up and down, core strength.
Inhaling up dog, cobra or seal. Exhale, down dog. Left leg in the air on the inhale, 3-legged down dog.
Okay, so that's just thigh on chair, leg out. Arm can stay up, yeah. Either arms up or down, your choice.
Exhale, low lunge.
Okay, so let's go into low lunge now, seated, great for sciatic joint.
Inhale, back foot 45 degrees. Use that core, rise up, warrior one.
Okay, I'm gonna keep my heel on the ground. By the way, I do toes flex, warrior one. Sorry, Jim, I'm just pointing these out. Just so you know, like Jim's back foot is flat, but seated, that's awkward in the hip. And I wanna point out, Sonia, for hip replacement, this pose that Jim's doing, Warrior One, sorry, Jim, you're strengthening your quad, come out if you need, that is not really okay internal rotation we don't want to do. So those Warrior 1 and 2 for hip replacement post-surgery, that wouldn't be okay. You see that internal rotation? So it may have to be adjusted, like the knee the hip that didn't get replacement may be toe forward, or see what I mean by that? Adjust. So it's really like the crossing over spinal twist in those Warrior 1 and 2 is not, we don't want to do. You're rotating in. Does that make sense? But Jim, if you were like teaching in a class and someone had a hip replacement, they can do your standing version. This high lunge, you're forward, you're not rotating in per se. It could be different. So there's different weight warriors. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, so thanks. Sorry to hold you in the pose long. I just want to point, that's why I have heel here, because see, that would be weird, right? You can try it, like.
I can't now, but that's okay. Just kidding.
Yeah, what was that? You're
I
getting.
said, I can't move now, but that's okay.
Okay,
But I'm only,
one leg is gonna be crazy strong. Okay.
Yeah. On an exhale, back toes come forward, heel off the ground, lower the hands, low lunge. Inhale, left foot back plank. Always can go back to down dog or take your flow, chaturanga on the exhale.
And a lift and lower.
Inhaling up dog, cobra or seal. And in my all levels class, I have them do an optional push up, hips up and back down dog.
Okay. And you could always do another of that. If Jim's doing the push up, you can lift and then down dog.
Walk or float forward, halfway lift on that inhale. Exhaling in the forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, raise those hands high. And exhale down through heart center in the mountain.
Okay, good work. That if someone is not forward bending, that's a lot of forward bends, these sun salutes. If you're teaching a private session and someone's not forward bending, you don't have to do so many. You can do mountain pose for every time people forward bend. But remember, privates, you can teach to exactly who's there. So you don't have to always do sequencing if there's too many poses to skip as well, right? Okay, good work. Now, we're going to do one more round. And is everyone feeling your blood flowing? Flexibility. That's the benefit of sun salute. Great. Gives you energy, good circulation, flexibility. Jim was also getting a lot of strength there, but we were seated too. You're getting strengthening your deltoids when you lift your arms, core strength. You get both. Now, if you want to try, you're going to choose now. You can do your seated we just did. So everyone now knows the seated. If you are not standing, that's the beauty of chair yoga. You can now stay seated and repeat, match the poses. I'm going to show standing using a chair for support as another option. So you get 3 options now. You can do your version now. First, you can watch. You don't have to do more. You get 4 options. You can watch. You can do standing with the chair, no chair like the Jim just did, or seated. The world is your oyster. Yogi or yogini's choice, okay? If you want to just watch, that's fine too. So I'll lead you through this now so Jim, you can enjoy. And I'm going to use the chair top and then the chair base. You also have options, not just with standing. You have also options on if you want to turn the chair around from behind. If you have less of a range of motion, you would want to stand behind the chair. But if you can go lower, face the chair towards you, and then you'll be able to go lower in the lunges and the bends. Okay, so see what works for your body, and know for your students you have a choice. I'll actually show chair base. But know that, like Sonia, as you were just there behind the chair, people can do chair top. I'll show both. I'll show a few. And I'm actually not an Ashtanga yogi, so if I go a little out of order, because I don't do this exact one always. So ready? Let's start Surya Namaskar A. Okay, feet together if comfortable. For stability, you may want hip width apart. So start where you are. If you need chair for support and you're standing, you can hold the chair top. If you don't need it, just feet hip width. Notice if you're using chair base, you have nothing to hold here. unless you're close. So that would mean you're okay without chair. Okay, like an assisted living home class or like a lot of mobility issue, I wouldn't even do this. I'd have everyone behind the chair, but I'm showing other options. So round one, inhale, arms up, exhale, prayer. This is actually called Samastitihi, equal standing pose. Press palms together firm. Okay, we're gonna, a little variation, but inhale up. Exhale, fold. Some people lengthen, some swan dive, up to you. Hands on chair base if you're doing my version here. You can bend the elbows, more like forward bend, and then halfway lift would be straight arms, bend the knees, lengthen spine. Inhale, shoulders away from ears. Exhale, fold in. Okay, plank pose. I'm going to show simple version without bearing weight on shoulder or arm. If you have a shoulder issue, we'll just go into the plank will be like down dog. Stretch the hips back. From plank, you would lower chaturanga. We're going to bend the elbows. You do get a little strength if you lean forward, bend the elbows, but gentle version, walk it in, and then into cobra or up dog. Arms can go back or fingers interlock. Navel to spine here, mindful. Notice how the back arches, navel to spine. Lift the heart, navel to spine. Good, and then down dog would be hands to chair, top or base, walking legs back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. It's like what I just called plank, but you can stretch your legs more if you like, and then bend the knees, look forward. People jump or walk forward, probably chair yoga, you walk. Some halfway lift again, inhale, exhale, fold. This sequence would not be great if you're not forward bending. Inhale up. Exhale, prayer. If someone's not forward bending, sun salute may not be the best choice a million rounds, right? How does that feel? Thumbs up if that's good ideas. Okay, we're gonna go to B now, adding those lunges. You choose top or chair base. And I'm just gonna show you one thing. You technically could do plank, and I show this in your video, chaturanga to up dog. I never teach that in the chair, but you could. I've seen teachers do it. The down dog. Actually, I've seen teachers do the chaturanga. I don't like it because your chair can push forward. I would suggest chair at a wall if that happens. When I'm doing this, I'm moving my shoulders over wrist. I'm pressing my chair down. That's a lot of core and arm. You also don't want to sink the hips, navel to spine. And then up dog. I don't suggest that so much because it really can, people aren't aware of core strength alignment. You can hurt your back. Chair can slip. But if you have chair against the wall, you know your students, and that's fine. You could do that much. That's harder. I see no one wanted to try it. That's fine. Okay. So what I'm showing a little more gentle. So inhale. Oh, sorry. Actually, sorry. Shake it out. We're doing B. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Yeah. So chair Utkatasana. I'll try to go in the B order. Excuse me if I'm a little out of order. So Utkatasana with chair. If you need support, hands can be on chair top. If not, up. Exhale. Fold. Halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. It'll be like a down dog. If you want to do the harder version I just did, you can. Okay, lowering. Walk it in to cobra. You notice you have to walk it in standing to get that alignment. A mountain, navel to spine into cobra. Exhale, down dog. Okay, good. And right foot. If you want to lift it up first, you can, or just take it forward into lunge, left leg back. Okay, the Ashtanga B is not lunge, but Jim was adding lunge, so that would be your lunge. But Ashtanga B, foot is flat, not for hip replacement. You're rotating left toes 45 degrees forward. Warrior one, inhale, Virabhadrasana. Exhale, back to that flow. We step right leg back, plank. Chaturanga, bend the elbows, simple version, walk it forward, inhale, up dog or cobra. Don't worry if breath's confusing, just do your best, keep moving. Exhale, down dog. Second side, option, and this would be too fast for some groups. You may hold each pose 5 breaths each. Ashtanga goes 1 breath per movement. Some groups way too fast, just take time in each pose, it's fine. Left leg up, inhale, optional lift leg, exhale, step it forward, lunge, second side. Okay, left knee over heel, right leg back. I'm adding the lunge as Jim did, which Flo may add a lunge. By the way, there's even low lunge, knee down like that in a chair. Foot flat for warrior one, arms up. Pointing out Sonia, sometimes someone has a hip replacement, one leg can internally rotate, one may not. They may skip warrior one side, but can do the other. Exhale, last time, step it back, plank, which is kind of down dog, good. Chaturanga, if you bend your elbows and even start to lean an inch, you'll feel arm strength like chaturanga. But then you can walk it forward, more gentle, rising. Last time, cobra or up dog. Downward facing dog. Inhale. And just hold, exhale. If you're doing Ashtanga, they hold 5 breaths, by the way, in down dog. So just hold another breath. You might need to bend the knees. Okay, and then, whoops, did I do that left leg? Sorry. Yes, left leg forward. You could also walk both legs forward. And then right foot flat. Did I do this already? The second side, arms up. This isn't my usual sequence. I think I did that both sides. They do an extra vinyasa between. My Shivananda, we only do 1 plank lowering up dog. Step it forward, rising. I didn't do the halfway lift. If you do the Utkatasana, sorry, I'm not doing exact B, and then you bend, and then down. Okay, I'm going a little out of order because it's not my flow, but you get the idea? That's it. So you match every pose. Standing, seated, floor. Good work. We're going to relax now, but let's do 1 twist. And I see, Janine, you got a towel. That is sweating work, yoga movement. That is the active exercise part of yoga. Yeah, sun salute, heating, work, cardio. If someone was seated and you do 20 minutes of that in a chair, you get your cardio for your heart and you're seated. Okay, let's do our cool down, which I call integration. So first, just massage your knees. Now that might be too many rounds for you or other people. It's just options. The 30-minute sequence would have been the warm-ups we did, centering, 1 round or 2 of A, 1 or 2 of B. Some students stand, some sit. That would be our 30-minute class with what we do now. So the last additionals, me and Jim were breaking it down, going more detail for teaching, but see how you can do this all in 30 minutes? It's quite nice. So let's do twists. We're gonna do a safe twist for hip replacement. Post-surgery would be legs together, and then simple twist. You can turn to your left if you want to mirror image me, right hand outer left leg, left hand behind on chair base. You can see I'm like this. Notice you can't see if you're on video screen, but a lot of students will lean back like this in the twist. Try to lift, instead of leaning back, lift out of the back hand. Use your back muscles to inhale, lift, exhale, twist. And then you'll switch. Okay, so remember sometimes switch sides. Less is more when you teach sometimes. If you have a large class or you're new to it and you don't know who has hip replacement surgery, who has this issue, who is that? You can just teach the twist just like that. Then you don't need to say, don't cross your leg if you have a hip replacement, right? So you don't even have to do the crossing leg version. You see, just to keep it simple, it's for the spine. So you don't even have to get into all the modifications if you keep your class real simple. Sonia, that might help at first, right? If you have a few people, you just teach everyone the twist. Then you don't have to say, don't internally rotate if you had a hip rotation, right? Just everyone gentle twist, simple. Okay, good. Roll it out. Any last movements you want to do on your own before relaxing? And we're going to do a simple seated shavasana where you slide back against the chair, back of hand on thigh, take a pause, pillow if you need on the back. Mind you, when I'm noting what to teach for, like, if you've had hip replacement surgery or modifications for rotator cuff, notice we're talking about the poses only. That doesn't include this relaxation. There's no precautions for it. Everyone, especially waiting on surgeries or pain in the body, we need to meditate, breathe, relax. So remember, big part of the class, half of it could be relaxation and breathing, not just poses. So let's close your eyes and go into relaxing. The poses take a lot of technical learning, which is why we spend more time in it, but you can most definitely teach half of the class all yogic relaxation techniques. So close your eyes, settle into the body, make any adjustments you need. And now we're just going to consciously let go, noticing and allowing. Notice your feet and toes and legs as you feel them relax. Just like your legs and back of thigh are melting into the chair base, letting go. Feel the back relaxing. If any part of your shoulders or back touch the chair back, feel it relaxing into the support and letting go. You can even repeat mentally, I relax the back. The back is relaxed. Notice the arms and hands and all 10 fingers, letting go and relaxing. Relaxing the stomach, the heart, the neck and throat, relaxing. Relaxing the face, the eyes, and the forehead. Letting go, every muscle relaxing. Repeating mentally if you like, I am relaxed. The body is relaxed. I let go. I am relaxed. Just notice the breath. You don't need to change it. Just notice it. A slight awareness of breath. You can stay here longer. For a class that was 30 minutes, I may have students stay here 5 minutes. If it was an hour class, maybe 8 minutes, up to you. If you want to stay yourself there consciously relaxing longer, you're welcome to. If you want to come out, start to move the body gently, any movements, maybe roll the hands, stretch your arms up. Little wake up stretch, maybe shake it out, anything that feels good, shake it out, shoulder roll, whatever feels good, no right or wrong. And then we'll join the palms to prayer, sit tall, bow the head to the heart and pause, feel your body now. Now we did way more sun salute than you might do in a class for teaching's sake to learn. So just see how that feels. In your class, you don't have to teach so many rounds per se, unless you want to, but honor yourself for learning to teach, for practicing. And namaste, we honor each other. Namaste. You can unmute. Sorry, I say I'm going to go 30 minutes. And I went longer because I was doing the teaching chips. That was, does that make sense? I was trying to do a 30-minute class, but then I'm adding in teaching. If I didn't point out teaching tips, which is the point of this particular class, you can do that whole thing in 30 minutes. Because when I showed seated sun salute and then standing and then the different options, you might not have to do that all because you just show everyone seated and no one may stand. Or then when you have people stand, they already know the seated. I'm giving you a lot of variety because you don't know who's coming in your class, but it could be much more simple actually teaching a class. Does that make sense? You show everyone seated and you never have to, you don't even have to have people stand. If you're new to it and not comfortable, and you're not sure, just keep them seated a half hour. It's chair yoga. They may not even know they were going to stand, right? Doesn't have to be complex. Simple, simple, simple. So how does that feel? Is that interesting information?
Yeah.
Now you may or may not like that version of sun salute. It is a lot of forward bending, but a lot of flow classes do that in Ashtanga yoga and power yoga. So if you teach that style, then that's you can make it to your exact sequence. No right or wrong. How does that feel in your body?
Good.
Yeah, you got your exercise. Jim got
Yeah.
more without the chair.
Thank you, Jim.
Yes.
Yeah, good work. And the only thing with online, I mean, nothing's perfect world online. When I taught at the ashrams in-person trainings, I would have people in groups of 4 to 6 people and practice, like teaching everyone's seated and then everyone's standing. And then as we progressed, day 2 or 3, I had them teach some seated, some standing, which then you have to give a little more mixed verbal cue. So, you know, it's just in-person practicing. So grab a friend or neighbor. You can pretend someone's in front of you if no one's there and tape yourself, but that's how we learn, just building up. Start 1 person, go to 2. It's simple. You never have to, as a chair yoga teacher, need anything more than seated. It doesn't have to be standing. I'm offering that because some yoga teachers like Jim are already teaching standing poses and adding chair, but chair yoga can only be seated practice. It doesn't have to be standing. Yeah, simple is good too. So good work. I hope that felt good. You can enjoy actually that Ashtanga whole hour and a half or 2-hour series with Patabi Joyce teaching. It's on YouTube. If anyone wants a serious workout, you can do the full version. So, all right. Well, wonderful work. I'll post this recording in your training so you can forward the parts you don't want to see or review any you want to see at any point.
Thank you.
Okay, have a wonderful day, and you can go on the training and do the classes when I was live filming like the senior or chair yoga classes just to be a student and practice without teaching instruction tips. So you can enjoy that as much as you like. And Jim and Sonia, and once you graduate, full access for your life to the course and all the live classes too. And you're also all welcome Mondays. Mondays is not teaching tips. It's just students, 45-minute practice. So you can jump on that anytime you want.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
Thank you.
namaste each other if you want.
Namaste. Thanks, Stacy.
Namaste.
Namaste, representing our 4 corners almost of US, Washington, Arizona, Georgia, and Trinidad and California. So namaste. That's all. Okay, good work. Okay, enjoy
Thank
your
you.
day. You're welcome.